Well, Coach, why don't you just tell us kind of what the routine is from here until Army Navy, the game? What do you start into Army now?
Oh, yeah, most definitely.
Right.
We're into Army. It's a normal week for us, so we're prepared the best we can. But yeah, we're obviously getting ready for Army.
Right, and you're installing game plan the whole nine. You're not waiting until next week to get it rolling. Right. Do you feel good about? I mean, after all these years, you know this routine down pat. And you know all about your Philadelphia hotel. You know what you're going to do there. Do you feel very good about that element of it? The fact that you've been part of this for so long.
Well, you feel like you know a lot of things, but you still got to play the game. You know what I mean? So you do the best you can in your preparation. I try to use all the knowledge that I've acquired over the 22 years of playing them. Just try to use it to try to help them. All of our coaches try to help them. Well, you just do the best you can and trying to get ready for them.
Well, and that's what I was going to say. You have some new coaches, and they are getting indoctrinated into this game. Do you try to talk to them a little bit about what to expect and how it all goes?
Yeah, I mean, we talk as a staff about a lot of different things, scenarios, the game itself. Obviously playing an Air Force game. There's obviously another huge game. Now, obviously, we got our rivals, and so you just try to draw on experiences that you've had. Just try to talk to them about certain things. But yeah, all of that's part of the preparation.
Right. Now, I understand next week is exams. It seems like absolutely terrible timing. Has that always been the case that since you all moved to the second week of December, has it always been the case that exams are falling during this week?
No comment. I just try to get us ready, but it is what it is.
Right, right. Well, I guess my question was going to be, I mean, are you concerned about, guys are staying up late or they're stressed out? I mean, I guess you can't manage that.
I mean, it is what it is. I mean, there's other sports and other, play during this time. In the spring, there are exams when spring sports are playing, and
Right.
You try to say some stuff, but then people feel like you're getting preferential treatment. So
Right. It's the Naval Academy.
you just go along with everybody else.
Right. I was going to ask you about Mr. Carruthers. I'm going to write about him. I mean, it really is an amazing story. You mentioned that he played in a junior varsity game at the beginning of the year. Could you have ever imagined this of him?
No, he's just, and we were just talking earlier. It's just some of the things he did. He stood out. Some of our catapult numbers. I mean, it just really that's kind of how we found him. We're like, whoa, who ran that fast? I mean, he had some of the fastest numbers we had on our team. So like, hey, we got to give him more reps. And the more he got, the more he did well. Because Nelson's a good back.
Yeah, of course.
So Nelson was playing well, but he just the catapult, our analytics stuff, just showed that he was running some numbers that were off the charts or on the top of our charts, and
Right.
we had to find a way to get him on the field.
Right. He obviously is learning every week. I mean, being as young as he is, it seems to me he gets better and better every week.
It's still amazing to me because he was a slot back. And then when we moved to be back, he got hurt, so he didn't get very many reps, and he was buried in a depth chart. And even when he did get reps, he was splitting reps. So to be where he's at right now is pretty amazing.
I mean, he's on the verge of almost 1,000 yards in 7 games, pretty much. Would it be safe to say he's different than a lot of your past fullbacks? I mean, you had guys like Ballard and Gargiulo, I mean, big guys, and he is a different mold, wouldn't you say?
Well, he's probably the fastest B back we've had. But he was on, like I said, he was an A back before. We've had some really good backs over the years, really good B backs.
Oh, yeah.
But, probably our fastest guy.
Right. All right. Well, wanted to talk to you a little bit about how this season's gone. I mean, it has to be probably a little bit amazing to you that you are where you are and doing what you're doing, wouldn't you say?
Yes, sir. I definitely say it's been an amazing journey this season. Just starting off the season, not playing much, and then getting into my role and just trying to do my job every day.
So kind of tell us what happened during training camp. Coach was mentioned at some point you suffered a setback with an injury. I don't know if that was in the spring or whatever, but you didn't get a whole lot of reps. That's part of why they couldn't see what you could do, because it didn't seem like you were getting a lot of reps in training camp.
Yes, sir. I got a concussion actually, so
Okay.
I was out for a little while.
Right.
And then when I got back, I was pushed back and stuff like that. So things just happened, and I tried to get back as best as I could.
So Coach just joked about you playing in a JV game. Do you remember who you played against?
It was Jara Prep.
Okay.
Yeah.
And can we presume that you must have run crazy in that game?
Well, I only played one drive actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah. We scored on that drive, and then after that, it was the the young guys got in.
Right. You didn't score a touchdown, did you?
I did.
You did. All right. So you did. You scored a touchdown in a JV game,
Yes,
and you scored one in the varsity game. What? So I would have guessed that you're getting more and more comfortable every week as you're learning every week. Can you just talk about the development that you've done just within this season?
Right, yeah, just getting more time with the coaches, more time watching film, learning more about the offense each and every week, and studying our opponents, and just falling into my role and getting more comfortable.
So you were a big star at Bowling Green High School, and I actually was in Bowling Green because Navy played Western Kentucky. First of all, did you remember the tailback they had named Andrews back then? Did you ever
Antonio
go to
Andrews, yeah. I've talked to him a couple of times. My high school
back.
coach, Nicholas Bosch, he was a fullback for Antonio Andrews. So,
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Okay.
I've actually met him a couple
Right.
of times.
Did you go to Western Kentucky games back in those days?
Yes, I was getting recruited by Western Kentucky, so I went to a couple of games.
Right. So I was curious because Navy played at Western Kentucky twice. It's been a while, and I don't know how old you were, but do you remember seeing Navy play there?
Yeah, I was actually in junior high the last time that they were there.
Right. So and maybe that was the first time you heard about Navy?
No, the first time I heard about Navy was because Trent Stillman was a quarterback at Army. He was a quarterback at my high school.
Guy. Right. That's right. And a legend. He was an
Definitely.
amazing guy. So what led you to Navy, and what do you think brought
I
you?
mean, just talking with the coaches, getting up here and meeting all the guys, I thought they were just like me, and I just wanted to be a part of something like this.
So obviously, this quick trap, the fullback trap, has been your signature play. A lot of your yards and touchdowns have come off of that. Can you just talk about why do you think that play suits you so well? Is it because you hit that hole so fast? And obviously, your finishing speed. If you get past the second level, you're gone.
Right, I definitely think it's offensive line starting to play off, running very hard, blocking for me, and then me just getting the ball and trying to find my blocks and hit as hard as I can.
So what do people that you know from high school think when you tell them you're a fullback?
Yeah, they would never guess I'll be a fullback. I mean, I was a spread running back coming out of high school, catching passes out the backfield and stuff like that. But, I mean, fullback's working out for me, and I like the position so far.
Well, now, obviously, we hear all about your runs. I mean, that's the obvious stuff, but I know that the Navy fullback has blocking responsibilities in a lot of different plays. How are you coming along with that?
It's coming along. I'm just having to learn the ways to block, cut blocking, things like that. Just each week getting better and try to improve on it.
All right, well, I didn't get a chance to talk to you after the game the other day. Would just kind of tell me your thoughts on what happened out there against Houston.
Yeah, didn't think we showed up ready to play. I thought our sense of urgency and our focus wasn't there for whatever reason, and I've got my theories behind that. But we didn't play well, especially in the first half. I thought we played a little bit better in the second half, had a little different look on our face. We were able to get some takeaways and get ourselves out of a couple of bad situations, but overall disappointed just from a fundamental perspective and made a lot of mistakes that we hadn't made for several weeks, so was disappointed in that. At the end of the day, we did get a win. We found a way to get the ball back a few times, we got out the field a couple of times, so we moved right on to Army. When we get in that bowl week, we'll revisit that Houston game and polish off and finish up on those corrections and fix those mistakes that we made.
Right. I mean, Houston's obviously a very explosive team with some great athletes, but I don't think they're that much different or their scheme is that much different than a lot of the other AAC teams you played, right? Would that be fair to say?
Yeah, that's not unfair to say for sure. They're certainly a talented football team, especially at the skill positions. And to their credit, I mean, they had a really good game plan. They showed us some things that they hadn't shown all year. And we didn't adjust very well early on, and that showed up obviously. And part of that falls on me. I got to get our guys ready to play from the jump, and we got to do a better job of adjusting during the course of the game. So there's a lot of things, and I, on my part, on our coaching staff's part, but our players, they didn't show up with the same attention to detail, sense of urgency that they have all year long. I didn't think in that game. So, but like I said, we're moving on from that. We'll revisit it in the bowl week. Right now, all of our focus is on beating Army.
And you're talking about Army, obviously it's a whole different animal. It's completely different than the past few games you've played. You got to kind of totally different mindset, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's why during the season, every Monday we hit on some CIC stuff. So it's fresh in our guys' mind, and they know how important that is. But yeah, and we got to shift gears entirely. The good thing is it's not foreign to our guys. We've defended our offense obviously, and defending the option is not something new for us.
Right. So the last few games, I think, since Notre Dame, SMU, and then this past game, the numbers aren't quite where they had been. Is there any concern about regression or any other issues that you feel that you got to address overall?
I don't think of numbers when I look at that. I just look at our performance and who we've played, and you know, we just want to maximize who we are. You know, I think we're banged up in some certain spots. I think fatigue's gotten us a little bit, and so you know, we've had to adjust the way we practice a little bit and look at ourselves and what we're doing. But I'm not concerned about the numbers. I'm concerned about winning and trying to get better every week, and you know, and we got to do a better job too of making sure that we're not asking kids to do things that they can't do from a matchup perspective and those kind of things. So we're always self-evaluating. But when you play teams like Notre Dame or Houston or SMU, they're going to score points and put up numbers.
Right.
You know, but at the end of the day, we still can't give up big explosive plays. We got to do a better job of that.
Right. That's, I guess, is the downfield plays, throwing it over your head. Those are the ones that concern you the most.
Yeah, absolutely. And we talk about it all the time. And you can't give up big plays nowadays. You know, and we make teams drive the field. Teams don't score a lot of points. You know, if a team's going to go 12, 14 plays,
you feel good
in
about
my opinion,
your
they've earned what they've gotten. You know, I mean, that means they've converted a couple third downs most likely, and so I can live with those things. But we can't live with the 2-play hitters, the 3-play hitters,
55-yard pass,
the 65-yard passes. Yeah, so you know, we got to do a better job in that regard.
So at SMU game, I think you all got good pressure, but Notre Dame, and we understand Notre Dame's a huge offense. It's not the first time Navy hasn't gotten pressure on Notre Dame.
Right.
This game, though, you didn't get as much pressure. I think the one sack, and that was on a weird where he tried a bootleg. I don't know if he was trying to run. Do you think he was trying to run or pass in that? The bootleg where Carruthers got him? It was naked bootleg?
Yeah, I'm not sure which play you're talking about.
Right, but that was the only sack. And then did you feel pressure was an issue this past game?
No, I mean, when we did pressure, we hit the quarterback several times. It was just after he got rid of the ball.
Right.
And they got it out really fast. I mean, they're a big screen team, big quick hitting team.
Right.
And the down the field passes were max protect, take a shot.
Right.
So sometimes when people do that, you don't get pressure. That's when you'd like to drop and play coverage, obviously, and play 2-over-1 where you need it. And you know, at the end of the day, we got to win some one-on-ones. You know, we can't always play 2-over-1. We can't always help in certain areas. And so when we get a chance to win a 50-50, we got to win some of those.
Right.
You know? And this is what happens. The quarterback made some nice throws. They've got some good receivers, and they won a couple of those one-on-ones.
Right. Well, and he was also an athletic kid. He could run, he could scramble, and he extended some plays a couple times. Like the one where the guy got past Cromartie, that was a breaking off of a route. Cromartie had him covered well on the initial, but the kid rolled out and extended the play, and then the receiver broke downfield.
That's right. Yeah, and you know, we got to do a better job too when the quarterback does scramble. Our coverage broke down a couple of times. We had guys come out of coverage to help with the quarterback run. They should stay in coverage, and so we talked about our scramble rules and those kind of things. But that's the hard part with the quarterback that's an athlete and keep plays alive. And I thought he played really, really well against us to his credit, and he's a good player.
Yeah. Well, I want to talk to you a little bit about Carruthers because he's an amazing story. I mean, kind of go back to you. You get here. You've got a bunch of fullbacks to work with. What's your first recollection of Carruthers?
Naps. That's my first recollection of him.
Naps. Right.
Yeah, and he played A-back for us there, and you could tell there he had a little different gear to him. You know,
even as a slot.
Yeah, even as a slot. Yeah, because a lot of times, you know, he'd get on the pitch or he'd get it, you know, get a little passing route or something like that. I remember we used to play Nassau Community College. He had a nice reception there, and you could tell, thinking back to it, looking at it now, you could tell he was special even back then.
Mm-hmm. So I was curious, I mean, because he does look like a slot, and I think he could probably be a good slot here. What do you remember about the decision to move him to, or was he already moved by the time you got here?
He was.
Right.
He was.
That was done in the off-season, somebody made that.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah, he was in the B-back room the day I showed up, and he was on the B-back board the day I was there.
Were you surprised about that?
No, I wasn't, because Jamel was always a little bit of a thicker kid.
Okay.
You know, I think we, you know, he's one of those dudes. You're probably right. He probably could play both. I'm very happy he plays B-back, and that's where he's going to stay. So we're happy about that.
I don't think he's going back now. No. So he told me he got a concussion at some point, didn't get a lot of reps. So what happened in training camp? Because clearly he did not come out of training camp on the depth chart.
Yeah, you know, I think in spring ball, I think there was some injuries through a lot of guys. I think we were trying to figure out a lot of things. We were handling Coach Newberry's defense, which was, you know, as coaches, we were trying to figure all that out as well. So there were a lot of different things going on, a lot of factors going on. You know, and when you look at it, there's sometimes things happen throughout the season that's just got kind of like eye-opening, you know, and obviously him doing things at practice, him getting on some special teams, and then when you see him run on special teams, and it was kind of like, okay, this kid's clearly different. Let's try to work him into the game plan. And really, once he was in the game plan and he got his first taste of it and got his first touch of the ball in real action, yeah, it was like there's no questions asked. This has we got to get him the ball a lot more, which obviously we have.
Well, like at the end of the Tulsa game, he had that touchdown run, and you're like, whoa, okay,
yeah, exactly.
Right, that didn't look JV to me. Right?
No, and all the credit goes to him for sticking with it and, never complaining, always asking questions. Because that's the other part about this whole scenario as well, is that I think sometimes, people probably don't realize it. You got a guy who's coming in, not only is he playing at a high level athletically, but you got a guy who has not even been playing that position for a year.
Well, I was
so
just
he's picked up on it mentally. And our position, it's not that our position is one that's too high up on the mental scale, but you do have to understand where the blocks are coming from, and you got to have the understanding of what the offensive line is doing. So he's picked up on that, which is a complete testament to him.
All right. When I talked to him about it, I got to figure every week he gets better and better because he's learning at an immense rate. I mean, like you said, he's converted slot back, and he's getting playing time, and I imagine you see improvement every week.
I do. I see improvement in a lot of those guys every week, which is you always want to get better and better. With each game, each practice, each rep, you get better. Probably the thing that I'm most happy with Jamel, is he hasn't changed. He hasn't changed one bit since. Mm-hmm. You would think sometimes guys get success like this and maybe you see a different side of him or something like that, but he's the same kid that comes to work every day to this point. Mm-hmm. We've been happy with that. His work ethic is there, and he battled a little bit of I think he probably had a little bit more of a nagging injury than we knew in there, because he's not one to complain, and he's worked through that, and he's ready to go now, and I think that showed Saturday night in Houston.
Right. Well, and obviously the last thing, maybe the fullback trap play, he makes it look different than I've ever seen it. Navy's been running the same play for years, and they haven't always had a guy who could hit the hole that quick, and then if he gets in the clear, gone. Can you just talk about maybe why that play is he makes that play work so well?
I just think the offensive line is doing a great job. Whatever play is called, I think that the offensive line is rolling off the ball right now. Senior leadership, Ford's obviously there. You've got Forney there, you've got Kendall there, you've got Honecker, Peter. These guys they're coming off the ball hard. So whatever the play is called, he sees it and he hits it. And once he gets past the linebacker depth, it's on.
Right. Well, I've yet to see anyone catch him. Has anyone catch him here in practice when he gets? Well, you don't go full speed like that. But, right.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So far, so good.
Right.